major decisions such as Fortis, whatever, have to get board approval, or does Nexus have some carte blanche on the fact that, we're running the project, we have this budget, we're going through, we can't turn around and, I'm gonna say, well, we can't recommend, we gotta use this flooring, and we take that to the board, but this is something bigger than, you know what I mean? What's the delineation, or what's the aspect?
Not everything needs to go to the board. When you're talking about $100,000 though, I think that's just.
Yeah, well, is it a price? I think we talked once, it was like a price level. Anything below this much.
Do you know what it is, Amy, exactly? The 125?
I think it's 175, I believe.
Maybe it's 175. It ends with a 5 and starts with a 1. I do know.
Yeah, well, I know that they mentioned something because that has more to do with the state aspect of it, the legal aspect of it, as much as it does just good project control.
Yeah. One of the things that was recommended by Dennis Slaumeier, the superintendent in Benson, they just got done with a big project. He recommends getting the board to give me the authority to approve change orders under a certain number. And just because you meet once a month and that gets tough, but I would certainly consult with you guys too. And just I like having somebody else take blame with me,
Well, even we could have a special meeting, a quick special meeting. You could pull one of those and say, hey, those are options.
Special
If it needs
board
to be,
meeting?
yeah,
Well,
if it's
no.
done, we can pull it for, have a special board meeting like in a week or two and.
Yeah, they get
just run-
expensive, so
if
we
it-
try not.
No, but I mean, if something like that is,
There's something
needed.
major happen.
Yeah, we don't want to have a meeting or lack of pulling a meeting together stop the project.
Right.
Right, and where is that line? So if they say that door should be 4 feet over, is that a change order that Jim could approve?
Yeah.
I mean, right, where do you draw
Right.
those lines?
And like
Okay,
I said,
if not, I can't quite recall. I don't believe this is not going through Nexus, right? Fortis roof thing, I think, was that, I don't believe that was being overseen, but I can't remember how we ended on that.
It's a separate contract. Is
It
next.
is a separate contract, but I think it's in the scope of our.
It's part of the. It was part of the referendum.
Is it
so-
in the referendum part? All right,
I
okay.
think there was like $400,000 approved for roofing.
There was $550,000 that we set aside for that roof in over the gym in Bird Island.
So you can't use that money for this?
We could if we, but it's good to use the referendum dollars for something like this and then save that for.
Put that in the facilities fund.
Because you could recommit that funds to something
Yeah.
else if there's a bigger issue that came along in the end, and that I think the roofing was already included in that scope of stuff for the planning of the referendum, so it's better to stay there and keep our dollars on hand, earning its interest there, and then if we have another emergency or something, we can use our funds that way.
I agree, it'd be nice, and I think at some point, I don't know how the bookworking system is here, but to this separate, obviously have that separate facilities fund account, and that money just sits in its own island and doesn't get touched.
It's like a line item, it has its own code, they have 16, 17-digit codes that they use. And so
Okay.
it has its own code, since there it's all grouped in one large investment. But yes, it's
All right,
on the budget sheet, it has its own
all right.
line.
I did ask this, we talked about, hopefully we come in under budget with some of the savings on interest and such. If we could save, not spend those funds and put them in a committee fund or a facilities fund, but you can't. You have X number of spend any money that was.
Any dollars from the referendum have to be spent.
They cannot be put in a rainy day emergency fund, unfortunately. So I kind of agree if that's in the fund now, we keep that money that was allocated and start our new fund with that. So emergency
But
fund.
again, there's stuff that we know that's not included in the project yet, that's coming, that would be coming from different funds that we might be able to use, such as the air conditioning side of stuff. That's a completely different aspect So then we'd have, the more we could have of this to put against that would help that whole bigger picture, so.
Right.
Because we know that that's a big bill that's coming down the road. That for legal, for some reason, it's because there's a whole different fund from the state of Minnesota that has to be taken care of, if I remember right. Wasn't there something, I can't remember what it
I'm
was.
not sure exactly what you're talking about. but-
Well, no, they were talking about all the way through, because when I asked the question as to why that wasn't included in the referendum originally, said because the state of Minnesota has a separate HVAC type fund
Oh, like an
that
equality.
schools can go grab to use for that instead of a referendum aspect of it. Something to that
Yeah.
effect. It's a completely different fund or something that doesn't have to go to referendum vote. It's
Probably what they were.
not
yeah.
it's not a referendum vote. It's something that's already
Yeah, it's a
in
levy.
the
It's
state
a,
legislature that we
it's a
can
lease,
just go
I believe that's a
grab.
lease levy.
Yeah,
There are
Yeah.
certain things that you can just,
go
we
grab.
have the authority if we.
And that was one of the things they said, so we can actually get more done with the referendum, not
Yes.
including that. And then still be able to go back and get that if we did, because now we can essentially put more of that, any extra money we got, we can put that in there and we say, okay, well now instead of $4 million, we only need $2 million to levy
Right.
to get it to go in. And that's something that the,
So they did that
allows
to
us
just lower the amount we are
Correct.
levying. and-
correct.
And increase the likelihood of passing a vote.
Yeah.
And they're saying right now, if everything goes to plan, that we'll, with the premium that we've received and the interest rate that we've gotten, they're saying, again, if everything goes to plan, they're confident we can add that back in.
Okay, the long-term maintenance program. We've had some discussion on what type of program we have going forward. And I think now is a great time to have that in place, so as
Yeah.
little bits and pieces get done, like the track or the outside, so we can build this thing as construction goes, so.
Yeah, so Denny and Neil and Amy and I, we've had a couple sit downs with this company Brightly, and pretty impressed by what they have. They changed. Do you remember what their name was before? It was really kind of a horrible name.
It's the name that I sent out earlier on the list. I can't think of it, but they were bought out by Brightly.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're more of a facility maintenance type one, where some of the others are more of like a production
mhm.
type maintenance program.
And they really they design for schools. So
That's cool.
yeah, and it does everything that we've talked about, from the day-to-day, a teacher that has a light bulb out, they pop that in there. They get an alert, a custodian could get that alert and then say, I'll take care of that. And boom, you can actually time things on there. If you want to know how long it takes to do a project, you can stop it at the end, and it'll keep track of how long it took. Which, we don't want to necessarily do that every day, but I think periodically, just how long does it take to clean 12 classrooms or however many they're assigned each.
Right.
But the nice thing about having that ability is when you have systems that are starting to become costly and time consuming, you can start tracking the time
Yeah,
and start seeing history on time. That's huge.
yeah,
Because then you can justify a new system based on the amount of expense annualized.
yeah, that's a good point.
And just maybe eliminating the phone call. We see that at work sometimes. It's a half hour, 45-minute phone call to discuss what's needs to be done, and we may have been able to fix the problem in that time,
Yeah,
because this would eliminate those calls too, right? It would all be
yeah, I hadn't thought of it that way, yeah.
online. I mean,
What
That's
is
a
the
good
cost for Brightly?
It was about right around 5,000
Annual,
annual. Yep.
is it, then do you get charged per user too?
No,
Amy,
Brightly was
Bradley was 3.
3,600.
Oh, that was their second.
It's almost a no-brainer.
Yeah.
and then it's every year.
Awesome report. Every year, so we are looking at, I think, was it Brightly's 3-year contract, I think it was for them. So we'd have it for 3 years, and then we can decide to carry on if we know our contract but they would guarantee our price stuck at 36 for 3 years.
Also, didn't they say that commonly you'll earn that back basically through you'll save that much annually, basically?
Well, you could, yeah, I, when I talked to you about that, I may have misspoke a little bit, but, you know, hopefully by improving efficiencies, yeah.
Or just in maintenance of the building, if you keep it maintained, you shouldn't have to spend
Yes.
that much on money.
Yeah, correct, exactly.
So I think you'll make that back
Yes.
pretty
I think-
easily.
What it'll probably do inherently is Danny and his staff will be better as to how they do things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I think the other side of the idea of having activities timed, it not necessarily to see if somebody's doing it, but can we work smarter?
Yeah.
And if they start realizing it's like, well, you start looking at it and saying, okay, well, I was in this building, and this building. Why didn't I just do all this stuff now? Instead of like, oh crap, I gotta go back. Oh, you know what I mean? Like,
We
okay, I
can
gotta
start
go to Bird
lumping
Island.
these together.
Yeah, I gotta go to Bird Island. Here's my whole list of stuff I gotta do at Bird Island. Boom, I can take it all down instead of having to make 6 trips.
Right, yeah, that's a good point.
And this program also has forecasting so that we can look at and plan out long-term what things need to be done. So on the financial side, it'll
Yeah.
tie with our finances.
Well, and that, I'm actually getting to that, yeah.
Is it all phone based? I mean, if a teacher has a
Yes.
request?
Yep.
just-
Yep, phone, internet, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and I really like that. It gives great reports, so you can see what is costing you a lot of time, what's costing you a lot of money. And it's transparency, it's accountability. What are people doing? Nancy was saying that, sorry, Amy, the other, it's close. Amy was talking about the ability to put all of our stuff in there. And, you know, every TV that we have has a lifespan to it. And by knowing when those lifespans are predicted to be up, you can plan for that financially in the budget, and you don't have these big surprises. And then you might find out, okay, we expected this boiler to be going out next year, and maybe we've been saving for that, but it's actually in pretty good shape. So maybe we put that off for a year, and we're able to fix something else that is maybe in worse shape than we were predicting. So
So who will be in charge of running the whole program?
running it would be IT, but it would come down to admin.
There's gonna be somebody that's gonna have to populate all the data, and that's,
Yeah.
probably, you know, as
That's-
we go through.
That's the painful part on doing one.
Yeah.
It's painful. They do most of that for us.
Oh, okay, actually.
They do a lot of that. Yeah, I don't.
That's huge if that's part of the service fee.
Yeah, there's a setup fee. What was
Especially
the,
in schools have most of it
I
done, I
don't remember the
suppose.
service.
there was a setup.
There was a setup fee. I don't
Um,
remember what it is, but it's well worth the money.
Yeah, we all agree that to have them be able to come out and as you said, you know, this is a perfect time to be starting this because we're going to have a lot of new things. And one of the nice parts about that is we won't have to spend our LTFM dollars up every year. We'll be able to start saving for the replacements of these things. And
You should hopefully eliminate the surprises, because you can always do a better job of buying when you don't, not surprised.
Absolutely.
yeah, I wish you could eliminate surprises, but yeah, the planned surprises, yeah.
Minimize.
As many as you can.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I think it's a no-brainer. When I started looking through the right lead, and like I said, I mean, I was just commenting it was more facility-based, which I think would be work great, you know, on this aspect of it, if that's what we wanted to do.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, so we're planning on moving forward with that, and I'll let you know.
Was that included the scheduling and that for rooms and all that?
Yeah, you could do out scheduling in there. Yep.
Because I can see if you can integrate that with the new website and for people to be able to actually see what's being utilized in the gym spaces and that type of thing. More so for the teachers.
Oh, as far as Yeah, okay, I thought you meant scheduling of tasks.
Scheduling of rooms and that.
Yeah.
I think that has that capability as
This
well.
does have that capability, but
Is
we
that an
already
add-on?
have that capability with, that we're using currently. So right now, we're not planning, that was considerably more. Actually, that was the 5,000, wasn't it? That was 8,000.
Oh,
It was a lot.
that is a lot.
Implementation cost is just under 1,900.
That
Yeah,
seems dirt
It's,
cheap.
it is dirt cheap.
It's gotta be set up right or you're not gonna use it.
That's my
Yeah.
experience with a program like this.
Yeah.
If you don't have good, it's garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't have good data in,
That somebody's not entering and keeping.
Yeah. And that is a big problem with these. I know we have we'll be able to use this for our technology now too, of course, but we've got something that we use for tech, and people like to just come in and say to Neil, hey, I've got this problem, can you come and Neil tries to get them to put it on a
ticket.
ticket on it, but when you're a teacher, you just want to be able to say, hey, Randy, can you fix this for me?
It's done now.
Yeah, and
Oh,
but they don't understand that if Neil was foolish enough to walk down a hallway, he's probably going to get 10 requests for different things, and how do you keep track of that? So
well, now this, if all of the teachers have access to this, then they would be able to see, oh crap, Neil's pretty busy, I'm gonna throw mine in there too. If they can see like a list of work orders or something like that, if there's like, you turn around on.
yeah, I don't know what they would be allowed to see or not.
Well, I'm just saying that's something that you can look at and see if you turn around and say, okay, well, Neil might turn around and say, I want to put my schedule out there.
Oh,
So
yeah.
people just don't expect me to drop everything to go there. I want them to know if they want something, they need to schedule it in.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying that could be an aspect to it. And then Neil could determine what his schedule is. He might look at his thing, I got 40 things to do. And he's like, well, that'll take 10 seconds. I want to knock that one out.
Mhm.
And let him pick through it. But at least not everybody would expect stuff to be done overnight. I'm just saying if the teachers had access to that,
Yeah.
that might be a balance. It's just one thing that might take a headache off his. And I could see the same thing with Denny too.
Yeah.
It's like, hey guys, here's my list today. If you need something, put it on the list. And then, if it's an emergency, then yes, talk to me,
Needs to be done.
but it's just one of those things. I think it's that
But
way.
in
the
emergency,
expect-
that's a little different, but
Yeah.
it still needs to be entered into there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say if there was some
Somebody
kid throws up in the hallway,
Yeah.
go take care of it. You don't wait for someone to put it in.
Yeah.
But I think you'd want to put that in later. So,
So you know what it is.
if I were a custodian, I would want people knowing.
Yeah.
God, he
Well,
does a
I-
lot of stuff during the day.
What I'm thinking is that could make us as a facility more efficient because we're not putting out fires all the time. We're actually having to schedule stuff.
Mhm.
And people understand that. So, because I
It
can
gives a lot
see
of
that,
visibility too to what's
Yeah.
happening.
Absolutely.
yeah, but it's like it's going to make somebody think twice where they turn around and they say, well, instead of going up and say, Denny, I need you here now, they look at it and says, well, shit, he's got a busy day. I can wait. Denny, can I get this tomorrow? Here, let me put it on your schedule. I think it just make us more efficient
Yeah.
if it can wait.
Well, and there can be that communication with this one that we don't currently have where, so you put in, hey, I've got 3 light bulbs out, and then he could easily say, I'm doing light bulbs on Friday.
Exactly. Takes the
Yeah.
cart full of light bulbs, doesn't all.
Yeah.
And you can automate all of that stuff. You can have it set so if it's a light bulb, it goes to Derek, and if it's whatever, goes to this person. And or it could be you could have it set to go to everyone, or there's all kinds of stuff you can do for routing. I thought that was kind of cool.
I assume this actually, so like the product manuals for the different equipment and that can all be loaded into this as well.
I don't know. I didn't ask that. I don't think they said it, but I would guess so.
Because a lot of times you can upload the PDF for your documents or,
I'll ask about that
because that's handy, because if you're working on something, you
Yeah,
got
it's
a
like-
ticket, you can open up the PDF of
All right.
the piece of equipment's,
Well, Yeah, and
rather than having to run back to the shop and manual or.
Right, look at the manual before you go to replace the filter and the thing, so you know what you need actually when you go. That'd be the numbers of the
Yeah.
filters and all that.
yeah. I mentioned like taking pictures of things. Get away from having like on the boiler, you've got the boiler logbook. I was hoping to be able to get away from having all of these different logbooks, but we're not going to be able to. But at least this, the whatever on the swim, a picture of it, put it on there. It's there forever.
Before and after.
You can do it before and after if you want. Yeah. You know, there's always, this is something that always happens. You know, somebody gets asked to do something and, oh yeah, I did it. Like, did they or didn't they? They say they did, but it doesn't look like it got done. This is just proof. You can't argue.
Like you said, accountability.
Right.
Absolutely.
Most people like that. Like you said, it shows that.
Yeah.
No one thinks I did anything today. Here's what I did today.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that the program used right should increase our efficiency, should increase the person's accountability. And it should, you know, nobody should, hopefully we implement it correctly to the point where nobody feels threatened by it.
Yeah. And my gut tells me that right off the bat, people are going to feel threatened by it. You know, you're trying to big brother us, and it'll just take some getting used to, and I think the way to do this would be to just say, hey, this is how this is going to help you. It's going to make you look good.
Right.
And with the project we're doing, it needs to be implemented.
But honestly, if it was me, I wouldn't be threatened. I'd be like, yeah, go ahead and do it. Because I'm not doing anything wrong. I am doing what I'm told. You know, if you're not defensive about it, unless you are defensive, then you gotta worry about it. You know what I mean? People that are defensive and
It's just
worry
make
about
sure
it
that
are the
we're
ones
not-
usually not doing what they should
Not
do.
missing things. That's really all it gets down to. Is,
Yeah,
you know, just to help people remember what we need to have
absolutely.
done.
It's a helpful thing.
The other side of it is I think that people that live in this community understand the transparency issues that our school district have had. And this just helps that. So it's like you're helping make everybody part of the school
Absolutely.
transparent as it's going through, and we want to take care of our new facility.
Yeah.
And that's all this, you know, this is all part of that whole movement.
Oh, and that was the impetus behind this. Just, you know, moving forward, I don't want to be the guy that said that we're going to maintain facilities and do a better job, and then
Not do it.
yeah. And nobody stays in a place forever. People move, people get new jobs, people pass
But-
away. I want, and I would love to retire here, but when I'm gone, I want a seamless transition. I don't want somebody to be like, well, where do we start?
And
It shouldn't
this,
be
this program should actually give the board a lot more confident when you turn around and say, hey, here's my maintenance budget for this year. This is what we're fixing it and this is why. You know, you should have that
Exactly.
detail now instead of just, well, Jim and Denny got together and they said, this is what we should do.
Yeah.
I trust them, let's go.
But it'll help Denny too. He does a quick monthly board report, but he's definitely no Shakespeare. And now this will generate everything that we want. Yeah.
I think he'll like it. Once he gets,
I do
I think the
Once
whole,
they get used to it.
yeah, I think they'll all like it once they get used to it because they'll be able to look and go, oh, that's done already. Oh, good, great. Oh, we had to do that. Oh, they did that too. You know, it'll help
His
them in the
concern
long
that
run.
it's going to take a lot more time sitting at a computer, but I think that he'll be pleased with the
Well-
efficiencies that come from it.
Not necessarily. I mean, it might be they have an iPad that they take with them, and
Yeah.
once they're done, they take their photo
Yeah.
or check it out
Right
that they're
there.
done, and
Yep.
just like a student would.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I like the idea. I think they'll see a lot more contingency on it. Like you say, the light bulbs. I need a light bulb. Turns around and says, okay, we've got 40 to change. We're going to do them on Tuesday and take your cart and go.
Yeah,
You know,
here's all
instead
the
of
rooms that need them.
One this,
Mhm.
one there, one that, you know.
And managing inventory of things like that
Yeah.
makes that better. maybe you start realizing, all of these light bulbs have burned out. What's going on with these?
Mhm.
All right, I think we're all on board with this.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, we
Yeah.
killed
We'll
this
agree
one.
enough.
Okay.
Somebody want to make a recommendation for that we,
So moved.
okay,
All right.
Second.
Greg made a motion and seconded that we recommend to the school board that they purchase the Brightly long-term maintenance software.
We actually don't have to make a recommendation to the board on this one.
We just go.
Got it.
Okay, run with it.
All right,
We're gonna do it.
we'll make a recommendation to Jim to proceed.
Yes.
Construction audit, I'm not sure what we have on the construction audit, what that,
Okay, so what we've been talking with a company, actually with our municipal advisor about hiring someone to do a construction audit. And basically what they're gonna do is they would come in and make sure that everything is happening, every change order actually needs to happen. They typically save people the amount of money you pay for them, if not more.
Only 14% of all jobs,
Oh, yeah,
all things that they do not exceed the cost. The rest of the time, they quadruple the amount of money that they save the district.
yeah.
Because they like scrutinize every contract, like, why are you paying overtime? It's not our fault you have to pay overtime that you didn't come to work or whatever. So they take us out of having to be necessarily the bad guys in it, but also know exactly what to be looking for in every contract, every change order.
And they said that the companies that, like, the construction companies, Nexus or, whoever, they say at first they do not like this, but he said by the end, they're most of the time, if you're part of that 14%, they're actually pleased that they had that partnership because they're making them look better in the end. If you're not part of that 14% that didn't have any problems, they're able to catch those problems earlier. Maybe something's not getting recorded right, or that something was done improperly. They're able to catch all that stuff.
I think this goes back to one thing that Randy said right at the very beginning. I think we're going is, are we gonna hire our own construction manager to watch on our behalf? And part of the thought was a facility committee. It's like, okay, well, from this standpoint, we can make sure that everything gets kicked off correctly, but you still need somebody on the ground.
Yep.
And as far as Nexus could be fantastic and all of their project managers could be fantastic, but there could be somebody just in the background saying, you know what? I think our electrical group is being a little lazy, somebody else is seeing that.
Yeah.
That could be going on, that, maybe that electrical contractor turns out to be the project manager's buddy. And so he doesn't
Oh, sure.
look at him as hard as he might somebody else. So I see there's a benefit to it.
Yeah, they give a monthly report, and I really liked how that looked too, because it's showing, this project is at 42%, and we were predicting on this date that it would be at 36%. So you can see, are we ahead, or it shows the opposite. We wanted to be at 50% completion, and we're only at 20%. What's going on? And that ball
What is the name
rolling
of the
too.
company?
Amy, do you remember the name of the company?
It's Baker Tilly.
It is through Baker
Oh,
Tilly.
Yeah,
Baker
it's
Tilly.
a division of Baker Tilly.
Oh, okay.
Tony Olben is the gentleman's name, it's his team. He's based out of Wisconsin.
How did we find them?
They were
They
recommended
recommended.
to us by our municipal advisor because we did have,
they're financial people, right? Baker Tilly.
right,
Yeah,
they,
Baker Tilly's a
they
big
look out
accounting
what's
firm.
in the
That's what
best
we
interest
use
for our
It's like it's an add-on, but
So it'd be somebody that would be here every day.
no, they're not here every day. But they stop in and periodically check out, and they get copies of all of the bills and
So they're not on the front end, they're looking at it from the back end.
yeah.
Before we pay
During,
any,
in the middle, kind of too, I
Yeah.
suppose.
Yeah.
Middle day.
So Amy, what is that?
they would look at every bill, expense, or contract before we actually pay the money out.
Yeah.
So they hold them accountable so that we don't overpay for something or pay for something that we shouldn't, or they try to slip stuff in and stuff that I don't, I'm comfortable like with this, I think it's a great thing, because I don't know enough about construction to like pick that stuff out, nor do I have time to sit and read every fine line
So
in that stuff.
again, so we're planning on going with them unless you guys,
What's the cost of that?
And I'm meeting with them next week, early morning while I'm on vacation to get our proposal. So, I don't know for sure yet, the actual cost.
Do they have any kind of estimate?
yeah, they,
We can pick a monthly package, which I think is like 3,000 a month.
well, and that was another part of this, was that after 6 months, if things are just going great, they said, you might just decide to say, hey, if you're comfortable, we'll step back. So, we're not getting married.
Yeah, we're not bound to a contract.
Yeah.
Per se.
Well, I certainly liked it. I don't want to sit here on the board and all we do approve and spend more money, but I think there's a need for that, how it gets done is, and maybe this is the best way to get that done.
Well, it still gets back to the same reason why I agreed to be on the facility committee in the beginning, is because there's expertise here to help. And now we're talking, taking it to another level. And the point is that we all have full-time jobs. It's hard for us to look at this stuff day to day or as it's going through, but it needs to be done, because that's the oversight I believe that we need to help our school board out with, because they don't have time to look at it either.
Right.
Or
That's the whole
school
point of
that-
having a
yeah.
committee.
And right back to the community, confidence in the community.
I'm sure they do this automatically, but like when you make payments we have them fill out lien release forms or
Nexus takes care of all of that for us,
okay,
and then they provide us copies of everything.
all right.
So we'll have all of that in a folder, so I'd like have a separate file all started just related to the referendum construction, because obviously we closed our investment today and
Bless you.
we already have expenses, so. it's just
Right.
quick.
Okay.
So, little bit off topic, but I'm just thinking that this might help as well, is that because this is somewhat gonna be with a public school, a public aspect, we have to go out for bids, things like that. Are there any rules as far as like prevailing wage, things like that have to be abided by for this project?
No, we don't have to.
Okay,
Because we're not using, but if we would have used dollars for the playground stuff, then yes, because that's federal dollars. But because we were able to get enough, we were able to double our contingency fund, we were able to get 4.4 million in premium and close to 3 million in interest. We didn't have to touch that federal money, so that helped that
Okay.
area too.
Well, I think maybe once we get the cost down, we can make I don't know if we made a recommendation from us, obviously it's good to know about it, but I guess it really comes down to cost of what's that. I mean, so when you get that far, what
I
that
look
service
at,
is.
I guess I look at it this way, I think that oversight needs to happen. And I personally don't have time to do it. I'd be willing to help on it, but I couldn't do it on every one. And so if we're confident to have somebody that we believe can take care of it, then I think it's in our best interest to do it.
And this is what they do. They know
Exactly.
what to look for, and I'm sure they know, they're working with this company. We better keep an eye on them.
And I guess speaking from a project manager aspect from my experience, I know that our project manager from Nexus is going to be doing the same thing. And I know that when I had people working for me, I was watching them, because I had a general contractor, they were working for me, and I was looking over their stuff. And I know that my CFO was looking over me. So it still comes back down to the same thing. We're just layering that in, and it's a different set of eyes, and I believe it's natural. And I don't think that Nexus we just turn around and says, we know you're doing your job, but with our transparency issue and stuff, we still want a third party to look at it.
And it's not that we just don't trust them, or
Yeah,
it's just a
Things
second
can
eyes
get by-
mistakes make.
Yeah.
Things can get by them too.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that.
But I think I would be more in
Accidents
favor of
happen.
not doing like a year contract, maybe a month by month.
I like the month-to-month thing.
Yeah,
Like you
well,
said, 6 months down the road.
That's
it's
just
like,
how
well,
it
we're not
is,
doing
yeah.
anything.
yeah, we're not gonna sign up for the
No.
whole project. And again, I think I said that before too.
No, I think it's great idea.
Yeah,
But
so good.
honestly, it might be good and just to, I mean, if it's working good, let it go all the way to the end and finish it off.
They're showing that they're making
Yeah,
their wage and
Show it,
They
yeah.
said usually their fees are more than recouped by what they find in errors.
I would
Yeah.
assume so.
And not intentional errors, but just errors.
They're
happen.
accidental,
And
yeah.
so that's what they do. And that's basically being responsible.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely a need. It's,
Well, and if you look at it as, if we were to hire somebody, if it's 3,000 a month, 36,000 a year, we aren't gonna hire anybody for that.
and percentage wise of the project, it's a fraction of
Correct.
1%. So I'm sure.
Yeah.
See what it
Okay.
comes back at.
Yeah, let's see what it
Yeah.
is first.
Tracy, did you have something sore throat, did you have something you wanted to discuss? Okay, all right.
The deconstruction that they did, they showed us pictures and stuff, but.
Okay.
I don't have a voice anyhow.
Jim, did you want to, just a second, for the school board, I understand you guys, it passed to obviously continue on with the pool and
Yeah, they passed a resolution that
based on the city.
state, yeah, well, yeah, we're planning on supporting the pool. I would assume the city, the council will support it too.
Okay, so-
So what is, I'm sorry, I just caught wind of it, but what's wrong? What happened to the pool? Is there a wall that's degrading or what?
Just
Oh,
go look
yeah,
at the
you just look at the wall.
east wall. You'll know.
Oh, the east wall of the pool? Oh, yeah.
And the south one, I think.
Bricks.
Yeah.
I think the metal tie straps in the wall are corroded, the rest of the way is part of it.
We're still, we're not
We don't have.
concerned yet about it falling down, but I wouldn't park my car there.
I think the ventilation system wasn't working properly.
Oh,
In
it got
between
into-
there, it
yeah.
rusted
Yeah.
metal.
Well, and then what happened was at some point, they to keep the moisture from weeping out of the brick, they painted the brick moisture inside.
Mm.
So
It works, yeah.
know what that thought process was. It made it pretty, I guess, for a little while. Certainly not now.
So the block is what holds the roof. The brick is just pretty.
The facade.
Well, yeah, and
Layer.
that's important to understand too, yeah. Most people wouldn't,
Nobody's gonna get hurt.
well, no, but I mean, if it falls down, it's
I
gonna
mean-
crush a car and
Just
whatever's
just
in
a
it.
brick, right?
It's
Just a brick, not the structure.
correct.
It's not the block.
That's what I was trying to get.
Good. I used to get that every August, I'd get that done, sort of come and go, I don't know.
I wouldn't get the sore throat, but I get this laryngitis. And it would last for 6 weeks for me.
I have some little kids.
All right,
Okay, so then,
Somebody just dropped.
no other discussion, we'll adjourn.
all right. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
No, they did,
Technical difficulties, so.
I know.